Everyone else? Who's being announced? All right, we are officially live and recorded. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. This is Maya. I think everyone knows for the most part who I am. Happy Saturday morning. Let's see. We are gathered because we're going to. I've known a lot of you for a long time, and some of you are brand new. And so I'll just do a quick brief introduction to myself. And today's clarity session, our first Saturday clarity session, is going to be all about the topic of how to create change in our life, like how to really fast track change, which sounds kind of cliche, like you can't do it, but there is a real way to do it. Obviously, it requires your work, but I'll show you how to kind of fast track that change, as well as where we get stuck. And then there's something that I've been thinking about you in the Maintain for Life group a lot because we are growing, and COVID has changed a lot of things for us. And so a lot of my time and energy and attention is with you now. And I'm excited to be here with you now. I've been a registered dietitian I've just paid my dues again, and I was counting up the years, and it's actually been 12 years now. And I've been coaching for 14. Most of you know my story. You know, I grew up in a Lebanese household, and food was love. And I was well over 200 pounds at one point in my life. And throughout my life, I have been overweight. I have been underweight. Okay, hang on a second. That's my text messages come through. I've been overweight. I've been underweight. I've been the right weight. And a lot of it has been through, in my early years, I was a binge eater, emotional eater, overeater. This is what Lori, our second trainer at New Aria, runs the Freedom by New Aria programs, which is for specifically weight loss for emotional eaters. And later in my life, I had been overweight because of not doing what I know I should be doing. And all or nothing behaviors, which you guys are here for. And then later on, from burnout, not once or twice, but 3 times in my life, I had hit burnout. And so stress and the impacts of stress, which is why we do a lot of work at stress at New Aria. I'm a diplomat of the American Institute of Stress, and our stress reduction program is accredited by the American Institute of Stress for that reason, because stress has such a profound impact on the body. And oftentimes when you're in stress, and stress is such a normal part of your life, stress is a habit. You don't realize that it's a habit, yet the stress response is still running in the background. And so fast forward to present day, so much has shifted over the years, and I've worked with thousands of clients over the years and held hundreds of workshops. And funny enough, post-COVID, this is the place that I land to help you in any possible way. I have been through so much of it and helped so many people through it. The point being that I'm coming to is there's 3 topics that I want to talk about today. And always the floor is open to you. The first one we said is how to create fast change. The second one is where we get stuck. And number 3, I've been listening to you in the group, and I've started working with a few, but I've been listening to you very closely. And I'm really, really excited to make sure that we chat about today how to get started again without failing again. I'm not saying this is you, but a lot of you are falling into the category of like, you have been there, done that. You've been through every single diet. You've spent all of the time. You've spent all of the money. Maybe sometimes you've lost, and then you've gained, and then you've lost again and gained again. And at some point, you've got to stop learning and start doing more, and start doing, period. At some point, you know enough. And sometimes what's required of us is to unlearn those things, is to continue to unlearn and unlearn and unlearn, and to start implementing. And so I'm excited because I want to take you through, so you don't have to work one-to-one with me, although if you want to, but I'm excited to start a group around intently starting with the stepping stones. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it, because today is going to shine some light on that, okay? So let me make sure. I'm going to flip over to Facebook here and let me review the screen real quick. Make sure that there's okay, I don't see anything on there. Perfect. So I'm going to stay on the Zoom screen So for those of you that are on Zoom, if you have any questions, let me know. Just pop them in the chat box. And then I'll pop over every once in a while to the Facebook group to see if there's any questions that are there. All right, let me pop back over to Zoom. Very good. How are you guys doing on this Saturday morning? Okay, so I'm going to grab a pen real quick. Clarity sessions for you twice a month, whatever, maybe once a month, twice a month. They're just for you, no charge, for free. Next Saturday is going to be our next clarity session, actually right away on the 19th, June 19th. I'm going to bring Lori in and she's going to start talking about emotional eating, well, specifically food addiction, and then how it kind of relates to emotional eating. So we'll do that clarity session next week. And the reason that I wanted to do this with you, I love clarity. Clarity is the moment that you get clear on something. Of course, a whole nother world of questions start to come out of that, and that is completely 100% okay. But when you have that newfound clarity, you reach a new level of growth and evolution, and even deep meaning and value in your own life. And when you reach those places, it's fun to me. It's call me crazy, but this is why we live our life. I am enamored. I always have been. Seems like from the moment I was born to really live not just a good life, but a life full of meaning and value and presence. And to be alive and really into my own life and to be present for my own life. For the years that I had struggled with where you're struggling, I was not present. I can't tell you how many moments of my own life I missed because I was so far in my own head. And when I was so far in my own head, thinking and planning about the past or the future, oftentimes when you're too far into the future, or the mind or the mental state is too far into the future, we're ruminating about what's to come, or trying to control or plan. That tends to cause stress and anxiety. And when the mind is predominantly in the past, ruminating over what happened or how I could have changed things or done things differently, that tends to be more sadness, hopelessness, depression, or despair. And so when you're spending most of your mental energy in those places, there's no room for now. And so that's honestly what a lot of the years that I spent struggling with what you're struggling with stole from me. But I did that to myself. And so when I have that clarity, then everything changes. Then you start wanting more. Of course, there's more questions, but there's also more meaning. So that's the purpose of today, is to bring you some clarity. And I'd love to hear from you, whether it's the comments you're watching as a replay, whether you're here with me on Zoom, or I'll probably put this on YouTube too. Just feel free to add in the comments in terms of like, I want to know what realizations. And learning is nice, right? But if we don't do anything with it, it doesn't mean anything, which is why I want to start a group with you, which I'll tell you about before we leave today. That's how to start again without failing again, because that's where I need you to start. But I want to give you the big picture overview, and then we'll drill it down to how to get started again. So how to create fast change in our life. We all want some kind of change, right? Let me make sure I'm still in the picture here. Yeah, let's go over here. So here's my beliefs. These are my beliefs. A belief is something that I believe to be true about myself and my world. A belief is something I believe to be true about myself and my world. Now, beliefs, for as long as I've done this work, the majority of our world shares the belief in believing that somehow, some way we have to, we're not good enough on our own, or we're not worthy, or whatever that looks like, this not enoughness factor that we're experiencing, and it manifests in very different ways. It stops you from being able to take the small steps that you need to take, owning those small steps and choosing those small steps, knowing that they're your choice, because your brain overrides it and says that they're not enough, when in truth, nothing has ever really been enough. There's oftentimes, not being, it's something that I have to do in order to be loved and accepted or liked. These are just common beliefs that we hold, that we're not in the world every single day thinking to ourselves that, oh, okay, I'm not good enough, so I have to go do this, or I'm not loved, so I have to go do this. Those beliefs, they drive your everyday thoughts, right? They drive your everyday thinking. So one thing I want to draw to your attention with your beliefs before we move on to thoughts is that while it can, there's these subtle things that we believe to be true about ourselves and our world. They're how we're seeing our world, right? If Kathleen is here, so if Kathleen and I have we're in the same exact place at the same exact time, and we're seeing the same exact experience, she's going to experience it differently than I will, because we have two different sets of beliefs on how we run our world. But these little guys are tricky. These little guys are tricky in the fact that sometimes, for me, what I know for sure is that a lot of my beliefs have deep roots in a faulty sense of morality. Morality is right and wrong, good and bad. And the problem with a lot of us is that you and I, I could argue that most of us here could be nutritionists or health coaches in ourselves if you're not already. And when you have that level of knowledge already, that sometimes becomes a problem, because now you have too much, too much about this is right and this is wrong, and that food is bad and this food is good, and I can't eat this food and lose weight. I was just talking with Nancy the other day, and she had mentioned that, there's I can't eat what I like and lose weight too. I can't eat what I like and lose weight too. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. It's just what I believe to be true about myself and my world that does not align with where I want to go. Okay. So let me fast forward, and I'll just make sure I'm in the, can you see this? Yeah, you can. Current life you can see that? Yeah, okay. Goal. Yeah, current life circumstance, where you're at right now. You want to get healthy, shed some pounds, or if you've already lost some pounds, you keep it off permanently, right? Or maybe you've kept some off permanently, you want to keep going, right? That's where you want, that's what you want, that's your goal. This is where you're at. So when I say to you that, and we have, like when I was talking with Nancy the other day about, I didn't realize that I thought that the foods that I really like, I can't eat those and lose weight, right? That is just a belief that is producing a current life circumstance that's keeping her where she's at, right? It just doesn't match. I'm kind of already going ahead of myself a little bit, but it doesn't match. This belief up here creates this current life circumstance that you have, right? If we want to go someplace else, we need a whole new set of beliefs. No. Okay, so let's fill in the rest of this here. Our beliefs, you're not running around every day thinking to yourself, I'm not good enough, I have to be loved and accepted, or whatever those things are for you, right? We're not going around thinking those things. But what we are doing every single day is we're thinking thoughts. And many of you have heard me say this before, is here's me and you, and here is our brain. We have a brain inside of our head. This brain inside of our head has 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts in a day. It's a lot of thoughts. Most of us, I could argue all of us, we're addicted to thinking. We're addicted to thinking. Most of us cannot separate ourselves from our brain. If we cannot separate ourselves from our brain, and we are experiencing less than desirable emotions, stress, anxiety, frustration, overwhelm, something you don't want to be feeling, then it's like there's a puppy upstairs chewing up your house, your shoes, and your underwear. And you don't realize yet that you're actually the puppy trainer. You don't realize yet that you are the director, not the directed. And that's when your thoughts align with what you don't want. So your thoughts, thoughts that you have inside of your head, 50,000 of them, um, you could say that they fall under patterns or categories of thinking, patterns or categories of thinking. And these patterns or categories of thinking, like, uh, Kathleen here, she's got a different life than I do. And now I'm making this up for you, Kathleen, but she could be an overthinker. She could have a thought in her head about her life, and she's starting to kind of chew on it and chew on it. And I definitely am a recovering overthinker. So there's things in my life that I'm thinking and thinking of out of my 50,000 thoughts that's overthinking, right? Her thought sounds differently. My thought sounds differently because we have different lives, but they're both overthinking thoughts. So you could say that we have habits of thinking. We have habits of thinking. Common habits of thinking are things like perfectionism, all or nothing thinking, catastrophic thinking, obsessive thinking, overthinking, trying to control things we can't control, telling stories that aren't true. You know what perfectionism is. Catastrophic thinking is not, it's not if the sky's going to fall, it's when the sky is going to fall. Telling stories that aren't true. You have your husband isn't saying anything to you at dinner, and you start thinking to yourself all the things you did wrong, or what's not good enough with you, or that you don't look pretty enough, or whatever. We just start making stories up in our head that aren't true, and we do it all day long. And typically, or not typically, all of the time, these thoughts are driven by what you believe. The thoughts are driven by what you believe. So these aren't necessarily apparent to you in everyday life, but they drive these thoughts. Now, not all of your thoughts are bad. I'm not saying thoughts are bad. Thoughts are not bad. Thoughts are wonderful. They are, depending on, I suppose, what your beliefs are, they're a receiver of inspiration and creativity to go out and live your life, right? Having said that, when I go to my dentist, I want my dentist to be a perfectionist. I want him or her to do my teeth right? I don't want him to do them 50%. I want them to do it right. So that is his or her craft, and that is what they enjoy. But when you try to apply the same perfectionism tendencies to, say, weight loss, which we actually did have a dentist at one point who wanted this, it doesn't work, right? So while my perfectionism, all or nothing tendencies may drive a wonderful career as a dentist, they're not going to get me to where I want to go with my goals, with my health. So again, not all thoughts these aren't bad things. It just simply means that my thoughts are either aligned with what I am wanting or what I'm not wanting. And if they're aligned with what I'm not wanting, then it's like a puppy chewing everything up upstairs, and it drives you insane. Now, how do you know that your thoughts are misaligned? How do you know? These are habits. Your thoughts, largely in part, drive how you feel. Your thoughts, largely in part, drive how you feel. And so my thoughts largely in part drive how I feel. If Kathleen, as I just mentioned, if she's an overthinker, or if I'm an overthinker, right, that may cause us some frustration. It may cause us some confusion. It may cause us some stress. If I'm always worried about the sky falling, or things are going too good in my life, something's got to go wrong, or remember I had mentioned to you, if your thoughts are predominantly in the future, stress and anxiety. If they're predominantly in past, it's anxiety or depression and sadness. So your thoughts largely in part drive your emotional state. Okay. So how you feel on a regular basis, if stress is a habit, if frustration is a habit, if overwhelm is a habit, well, we know what's causing them. And the cool thing about what we teach at New Aria is that these things are just habits, so you can change them. Habits are changeable. Habits are tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, driving a car, riding a bike. You do them and you don't think about them. What I'm asking of you is to think about them, because you can change them. Now, last but not least, are my behaviors. So what we think, well, what we believe drives what we think every day, drives our emotional state, which drives what we do. Now, certainly these two can impact each other, but for sake of simplicity, our behaviors create our life circumstance. Really easy. If I don't save money, there's no money in my bank account. If I eat too much sugar, there's fat, there could be fat and inflammation on my body, right? So you all very clearly understand like you're not here for me to communicate as a registered dietitian to you that really that broccoli so much healthier than that cookie. I could argue you don't need that anymore, right? I just created a post like the Crisco era was all about the education and the knowledge, right? We are so far past the Crisco era. This is a new generation, and we absolutely know what to do. If you continue to learn, it starts clouding the thoughts. And there's too much, right? And it takes us out of the moment where we can tap in, tune in, and turn on to what our body needs and what it feels best on, right? So the majority of us, now we certainly could be, like we could get more specific in terms of listening to our body and getting clear on what my body needs in particular. But for the most of us, we understand this is how I feel best and this is what I need. Okay, so these behaviors are driving our circumstance. Now, let's answer some questions. Why are you here? Because I was going to answer the question of how to create change fast, right? How to create change fast? Your beliefs. You change your beliefs, it's going to change how you think, which changes how you feel, which effortlessly and easily changes what you do. That's how you create fast change. Where do we get stuck? That's the answer number 2. Where do we get stuck? Okay. Where we get stuck, very simply said, let's complete this. Thoughts, emotions, behaviors. Okay. So this is new. Whoops. This is new. And this is old. Okay, so let's play with this for a second. So we know that how to create change fast, so you can't even see that blue. How to create change fast is I change my beliefs. And we just talked about, this is the first thing we talked about. And if you're just joining us on Zoom or Facebook, this is recorded so you can go back and watch the whole thing. How to create change fast is you change what you believe to be true about yourself and your world. That is not always apparent to us, right? That is stuff that you can only find out when you start taking action. I'll come back to that because that's very important. It's how you're going to start again without failing again. So where do we get stuck in this process? We answered the first question. How do I create change really quickly? Change back here. Change the foundation of everything that drives your life. Next, where do we get stuck? All right, let's do the easiest example that if you've watched any of my stuff before, you probably already know this. So if we don't look at anything, like if there's just a line back here, it's like this. If we don't look at anything back here, then we just look at behaviors. This is where the majority of people, the diet industry, we just bang our head against a wall, right? So over here in our behaviors, it's if I eat too much sugar, not enough vegetables, fat and inflammation on my body. Keep it simple, right? You say starting Monday, I've meal prepped, I know where I'm going, no sugar anymore, and goal, desired life circumstance, weight starts falling off my body, I start feeling better, right? So no, all the sugar, no vegetables, not taking care of myself, not moving my body, not drinking enough water, you fill in the blank, right? Over here, like, you know what to do, right? Most of us, we know what to do. If we don't look at anything back here, then what we experience, we could say from a beginner's mindset, like, what's the matter with me? I know what to do. I'm just not doing it, or I'm so all or nothing. Like I'm all in, I'm all out. Pizza and cake, carrots and celery, right? This is why you're here for the pizza and carrot training, is how do I do in the middle? We get stuck because of misalignments. That's your second answer. We get stuck because of misalignments, okay? So if I have a new behavior, new behavior. Let me get pink. So I have, can you see this? So here's my new behavior. I'm playing out the new behavior, right? So I'm playing out the new behavior, and I have no sugar, no sugar, no sugar. And I have used up all my willpower, because willpower is just a muscle. It's not a habit that you can cultivate. It's just a muscle, and you have to learn how to use it strategically, which is where their 5 steps come in here, which that's the last point I'll end on with you today. So I'm in my new behaviors. So back here in my thinking, which the majority of us have gathered here for, all or nothing thinking is the absolute #1 saboteur of permanent change, sustainable change, and where we're going. This is a misalignment. It's real simple. Look at this. It's a misalignment. No sugar, all or nothing thinking. Let's take it one step further, right? Stress. Stress is a habit. Changed my behaviors, changed my behaviors. If you've ever been on a hamster wheel, this is a hamster wheel, right? All or nothing thinking. Oh, I really got to change my life. I'm eating all this sugar. Monday, no sugar. Friday, stress, all or nothing thinking, right? If you've been on a hamster wheel is just a sign of misalignment. So #1, how do I create change fast? Change your beliefs. #2, where do I get stuck? You have misalignments. That's all. You just have misalignments. You're not doing wrong. You're not, I don't know, stupid. You're not, you have enough information. There's nothing wrong with you. You are strong enough. You do have enough willpower, which I could argue that you here, us gathered together, you have more willpower than the majority of people. A lot of us think like, I just don't have enough willpower. Trust me when I say, if you're here in this group, you have more willpower than most people. Why? Because willpower is a muscle. You have practiced using this muscle because of all of your all or nothing attempts. So don't let that little belief of I don't have enough willpower trick you, because it's just not true. You have more willpower than anybody else. Okay, so quick stopping point. If you have any questions, this is our first clarity session, so I'd love to hear what points of clarity that you have. And there's one last thing I want to address before we sign off for today, and that is going to be how do I start again without failing again? And I wasn't going to go into this, but quite literally last night, I was texting Lori and I had this bout of inspiration because as I'm listening to you in this group that we are forming now and all this work that I've done over the years, I'm getting kind of deep in you have clarity with the pizza and carrot method training about this stuff. And you actually have the formula of how do I change a behavior, and you have insight into your all or nothing thinking and how to start changing it. It's more education. It's more awareness, which is fantastic, but I need you to take action. I need you to start again differently, because if you want to create change quickly in your life, the only way to dig into these is through flaring this up. More education is kind of a cop-out. And it just popped in my head, so I don't know if anybody's thinking that's not the intention with the pizza and carrot method training by any means. It's for awareness and clarity. For you to be here, understand what the real problem is, not the willpower, not the not strong enough, not any of those, not motivation, none of those things, right? I want clarity. You have enough knowledge. So there's no more, I don't want you spending any more of your time learning stuff. I want you to spend more of your time doing, because it's in the doing and the falling and the failing that you have the expansion and growth and rising. I'll share what I mean with you. Let me head to Facebook real quick and see if there's any comments. Denise, I need to sometimes think more. What do you mean, Denise, you need to sometimes think more? Okay, I think that's the comments over there. Sometimes I think we need to not think more. All right, guys. So let's wrap this up, and I'm going to end with a question for you, and I'm going to have to come back to it. Where's my Zoom? There we go. So let's wrap this up. And how do I start again without failing again? How do I start again without failing again? I don't know specifically, but with the majority of people that I have communicated one-to-one with in the Maintain for Life group, with the pizza and carrot method training that's forming right now. And by the way, I'm going to be putting this on YouTube. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll make sure that I have the links around this for you. Your time we are here because we fall into these categories. We have habits of stress, anxiety, frustration, overwhelm. We are all all or nothing thinkers. We're overthinkers, sometimes catastrophic thinkers and obsessive thinkers. Like, we certainly have beliefs of whatever, not good enough. We have too many food rules. We have a faulty sense of morality of right and wrong. And we're wanting this life circumstance, but we are getting stuck because of the misalignments. So you're here to change that. And I hope that this has brought you clarity in our first clarity session, that some of the issues are the misalignments, and they can be cleared up because these are habits. They're habits. You are not your brain. You have a brain inside of your head. And if you have felt lost in your beliefs or your thoughts, and you have been unable to separate yourself, the most powerful thing that you could hear is that you are not your thoughts. And if you know that, you haven't realized that. If you know that, yet are still experiencing the misalignment, then you haven't realized it yet. And the only way to realize it is to start by doing differently. So how do we start again without failing again? This is going to sound like it sucks, but I promise you it's really good. You start with your behaviors. You start with the stepping stones. You start by starting again. Let me give you an example. You are going to start, I really want to, and here's where I need your feedback. And I need because I'm not going to do it unless there's enough people who actually want to do this, but I see that there's a need for it. And I want to start a group where we are going to dive into the stepping stones together for more strategy. So you have the training in your pizza and carrot method training of how do I change a physical habit? I need you to ask yourself, where am I at and where do I want to go? And when I figure out where I want to go, I want you to figure out one thing you want to change with your behaviors. I eat too much sugar. I need to stop the sugar. I need to drink more water. I need to start moving my body more. You have the formula for the path of least resistance. You have those 2 checkpoints. You already have this, and I want you to go watch it. It's in your pizza and carrot method training. I also put it in the guide in the Facebook group for easy access. How do I change a habit? There's a way to strategically change a habit instead of unstrategically using up all of your willpower, like going to the gym and saying, if you go from all sugar to no sugar, it's like you going to the gym, never doing a bicep curl in your life, and picking up a 50-pound weight, and then getting mad at yourself when you can't do it or sustain it. The strategic use of willpower, how do I teach myself to do bicep curls that I can do for the rest of my life, right? Is in the small steps, the stepping stones. And there's 2 requirements for each stepping stone. I need you to start stepping stones. I need you to find strategies. You only have one brain inside of your head. I have one brain inside of my head. Collectively, we have many brains, which have many strategies. For example, if you want to slow down with sugar, instead of thinking to yourself, you really should stop your nighttime eating, or you really just need to get off sugar entirely, there are tools like Fat Bombs, and you have a Fat Bomb guide. But maybe your brain didn't go to it. Maybe your brain didn't think about it because it's limited to what it has experienced. The brain is limited to what it has experienced. It's really just a record of the past, right? So when you have a collective of all of us here in the Maintain for Life group, now you have strategies that you can use from new brains, people who have done things differently. If they want to start habits of exercise and you're an all or nothing thinker, in all honesty, you can't access the thought or the stepping stone that says, you know what, path of least resistance, I'm going to pick 3 days and walk for 5 or 10 minutes. You can't access that thought if you're an all or nothing thinker, because your brain won't go there, because it says that's not good enough, that's not enough. If I can't do it all, I'm not going to do it at all. These are very simple examples, but what I want to stress to you is that the strategies are not often available to you, which is why the group is so important, which is why other humans are so important. I want to start a group with all of us, something like $100 a month or something small, and to create the step-by-step everything that you need, from the worksheets to the training, and then live with me, I don't know, every week or a couple times a month or something like that. So we can have these strategies and you can dive into the doing. How do you start again without failing again? You dive into the doing. You complete the stepping stones. You do what you say you're going to do, and prove to yourself that you can do what you say you're going to do, however small. Because in the doing of what you say you're going to do, however small, when your brain says to you, that's not enough, it's not fast enough, you're not going to get to where you're going, why are you doing this anyway? You're already having to act differently and think differently in difference, different than your old beliefs. When you do differently through the small behaviors, even however hard they are, they're not difficult. The reason they're difficult is because you have a belief that it's not enough. It's not good enough, strong enough. You're not going fast enough. You're never going to get the results. So just quit. You're having to do out of alignment with what you believe, this all or nothing, right? So thoughts, small steps, middle, etc. I hope that I'm communicating this properly to you. This is huge. It's everything. This is how you start again without failing again. You have to take the small steps. You have to record them. You have to put them on a piece of paper. You have to track and measure it and course correct if you can't or it did not do the first stepping stone. It's not failure, right? There's another belief back here in failure. It's not failure. You're course correcting. You got to prove to yourself that in the doing and the measuring and the course correcting, which is easy, you can do that. Anybody can do that. In this, you're thinking differently. You can't complete this successfully without tapping into something inside of you that is thinking differently. So this is in the background. This is happening. We use the behaviors to start changing the thinking, because it's in the behaviors, it's in the failing, it's in the falling, it's in the course correcting, it's in those moments where you get to learn all of this stuff back here. You can't just sit down with a piece of paper and say, what, oh, you could, right? What do I believe to be true about myself and my world? You could do that, right? Sunday morning, cup of coffee. Most people are too busy. They're never going to do that. You could do that. And you could start to look back and reflect on your past, whatever, failures and successes and all of these things. I want you to get into the weeds, because when you're in the weeds and you're experiencing this struggle, I do this because it's, I don't know, that's how I experience it. You start to experience this first. You start to experience the struggle. You start to experience the frustration, the anger, the overwhelm, the sadness. You start to experience this. And you know what? If you actually allow yourself to experience it without whatever, eating your way through it or calling yourself a failure and quitting, I don't know, fill in the blank. You bust through the thing that you've never bust through. And now, it's gone. And you can see it. And then you can start creating alignment. But we start with behaviors, okay? So here were my thoughts on it, and I'd love to know with you. So it's this may, like, number one, strategy, right? So I'd love to put together a group that really wants to dive in, do the work, how to start again without failing again. I know always working with someone one-to-one like myself or Lori may not financially be feasible. So I was thinking about $100 a month for 3 months. Certainly if that it doesn't fit your budget, just let me know. But I want to start with you. This is a lot of you, as I'm listening to you, this is where you're at. This is where the rubber meets the road. You got to get in and start the doing. So I create some trainings for you on the stepping stones, so you can start to actually go in and then you do them. We'll create some worksheets, some trackers, some things that you can actually do. Strategy you get in group. Like, I'm going to go live with you. Lori will go live with you, maybe, I don't know, weekly or twice a month or something like that. And then you use the group, the Maintain for Life group, for strategies. We got to celebrate each other's successes and wins, right? We have to celebrate the, like, listen, if you can't follow through with stuff and you don't believe you can, but you say to yourself, I'm going to drink a glass of water today, and you drank a glass of water, like, that has to be celebrated. It sounds stupid and ridiculous, but you know what? You're not celebrating the dang glass of water. You're celebrating a change in how you think. You're celebrating the fact that you just chose that glass of water. It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. The glass of water means that you chose yourself. It means that you believe in yourself and that you are recognizing yourself as enough. If that glass of water was enough, I'm enough. That's what we're celebrating, and that has to be celebrated. And sometimes, a lot of times, we can't see our way through, right? We're in the weeds of our own life, which is why we have to have the groups, the Maintain for Life group, the live group that we're going through. So we got to celebrate those wins. And I do want to, before you even dive into the stepping stones, I'm going to give you some training on how to understand where you want to go and how to really define that. In a different way, not just physical goals, but you're going to go into some more emotional goals too. How to start again, but without failing again. Like how to start again without momentum. Some of you are really scared that you want to start again, but you're going to fail again. You're so scared of it that you're not doing anything, and now it's paralyzing you. So look, we got to get in the weeds. We got to fall down. We got to get bruised and scraped, and we got to keep going. And if you're not going to do it now, I don't know when you're going to do it. So now is the time to do it. Please let me know. I'm not going to do this unless there's enough of us who actually want to do this. So I need to know from you, do you want to do this? Okay. Of course, I'm going to put some thinking principles in there too for you, because you're going to get the thought habit change. I'm going to give you the inverted triangle models, the stuff in neuroplasticity. All of that will come up when you start here. So please let me know if that's something that you want to do, because I really want to do it with you. I know that it's your next step, but I want to know from you. I'll dive into the comments and answer some questions now with you. And thank you for being here. This is our first clarity session. I hope that it brought you, or move if you want to take a screenshot. I hope that it brought you some clarity. Okay, that's the whole point. Next Saturday, the 19th, June 19th, we're going to go into another clarity session with Lori, our second trainer at New Aria. She's trained with me for over 2 years and specializes and runs the Freedom by New Aria programs that are specifically for food addiction, emotional eating, binge eating, overeating, as it applies to weight loss. I don't work in that area as much anymore because she's amazing at it. For any of you that some of you have worked with her, you already know. Kathleen, I have been using stepping stones ever since I learned about it through New Aria. I.e. when I go to Lifetime Fitness, I just can't face a huge workout. I'll break it down to what I feel is palatable for me. Another example, I hate cleaning the house. I really break it down. I will clean this counter off, or even I will clean off half the counter. Small behaviors get me moving in the direction that align with my ultimate goal. That is the ultimate example, Kathleen. I'm really, really, really proud of you. Really proud of you. Really proud of you, because you have to override so much of your brain and the beliefs that are going on, the stories that are going on about why this is going to work and not going to work and not good enough or not enough, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're literally in cleaning off half the counter, showing yourself that you're worth cleaning off half the counter. That's a really big deal. Like, I could talk for 2 more hours about how big of a deal that is. I'm really proud of you for that. I do feel satisfied, all capitals. I do feel satisfied when I follow through on a stepping stone. Man, the satisfaction, you just hit something that's really important. The satisfaction that comes to you when you complete something that you say you're going to do, and then you see the result from it. I want every single one of you to experience that. Kathleen, this is the exact thing that that you're experiencing. Like, this is these 2 lines you say with capital letters. I do feel satisfied when I follow through on a stepping stone. That satisfaction, for those of you that are going through whatever, food addiction, emotional eating, I'm not saying Kathleen is, I'm just saying it in general. That satisfaction, here's the kicker. You will fall more in love with the satisfaction than you will with the old behavior. When you fall more in love, when what is driving you is that you love the satisfaction that it is giving you, the actions are giving you in life, more than aligning with old behaviors, more than serving your own not enoughness, your own faulty beliefs, your own not good enough, you're serving this, right? If you're here, you're serving this. And now there's a satisfaction. Now there's a certain, right here, here's where Kathleen is. Her emotional state is satisfaction. She is loving the satisfaction more than she is loving her old beliefs. She is serving her satisfaction more than she's serving her old beliefs. And this switch will happen for you. It will happen for you. When the switch happens for you, that is the key to permanence and sustainability. What's driving you? The intention is what is the intention? The intention is your deepest belief. Is your own not enoughness driving you, or is enough driving you? Whatever is driving you, whether you're aware of it or not, is creating your results. And the satisfaction that she talks about is the switch that has been flipped. Because you will fall more in love with the satisfaction. You will fall more in love with your ability and the trust that you are building in yourself to follow through and achieve something. Really proud of you, Kathleen. I haven't talked to you in a while. Let's see, Denise. Could you at some point do the steps for no sugar as a demonstration, or is that another training? I eat without thinking. Oh, okay. I eat without thinking. Sometimes I need to, that's what you meant, Denise, earlier, was I need to sometimes think more, meaning that I eat without thinking, I just eat. So you're talking about being more present with it. You're talking about being more, instead of just mindlessly kind of eating. So you just focus more on eating, right? So a stepping stone around that, Denise, pretty simple. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but make sure if you're consuming food that you're doing nothing else, that you're just consuming the food. That could be a really good stepping stone, even if that seems too difficult or too much resistance. For those of you, pizza and carrot training, go to the stepping stone training, learn about the resistance, right? Little to no resistance. You could say, I'm just going to do it at breakfast. If all 3 meals are difficult, that's your stepping stone. And then follow through with that and track that. Eventually you will, not saying you, Denise, just everyone here in general, you will build, when your brain says, that's not enough, you will build over time the stepping stones. You can do as many stepping stones, stack them as much as you want to with little to no resistance. You'll have stacked enough where you will start to see the results from those stepping stones and from the stepping stone tracking, the routines that you're doing. You'll start to see enough results, but you're going to have to start small, because if you don't start small, then you're not starting at all. But then when you do start, you're all in again. There's no, you got to start differently. Could you at some point do the steps for no sugar as a demonstration, or is that another training? Yeah, for sure. Like you mean, I think this is what you mean, Denise. So in the pizza and carrot training, which is also in the guides in the Facebook group, the steps for no sugar, right? So Denise is talking about, like, over here, eating all the sugar in the world. I'm making this up for Denise. I'm not saying this is you. How much sugar are you eating? Well, I actually, I went to talk one time, and I did this with a group, and I asked this one woman, said, I want to change my sugar habit. And I said, how much sugar are you eating? And she said, what, you mean in pounds? That's a true story. So like, how much sugar are you consuming? Where's it coming in? Maybe that's snacking or nighttime snacking, or just consuming it throughout the day, or candy habit, or whatever that is. You're identifying what that is, and then identifying where you want to go. Highly recommend, Denise, make sure you go to the pizza and carrot training and just watch the stepping stone training, which is the third segment. It's the third segment. This right here is the third segment. It's a small dive for those of you that added the extended pizza and carrot training. There's a deeper dive in your extended training. which you can log into the app for or the desktop. And if you need some login reminders, just reach out to me and I'll help you. Maya, M-A-Y-A, @newaria.com. So then Denise, it just is, it's the stepping stone routines for coming off sugar are just going to be about, I mean, I could spitball here and speculate, but I really need to know where you're at and where you're going. And when we find out where you're at and where you're going, what you need to do next, and go back to your training, is what is the path of least resistance? The next easiest step I can take, a stepping stone with the path of least resistance for the next 7 days, something that doesn't feel too restrictive, right? But something that I can do. All right. Looks like I've answered all the questions. Great job, guys. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for diving into the clarity sessions. I hope this brought you some clarity. And if you have not joined us for the pizza and carrot training, which if you're watching this, I mean, that's who this is going to right now, but if I put it on YouTube, then I'll make sure I put the links below for you if you're watching it anywhere else. You can get started for only $7. I'm growing the community. Seems ridiculous to just start with $7. There's a lot of people who think I'm like trying to pull something. I'm not. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and it's your time to grow the community and really help you to do it differently, to get out of the struggle. Because just like you, I have spent so much time and money and effort and energy and attention on failed, quote unquote, failed past attempts. And there is absolutely a way out of this. The diet industry it serves until it doesn't. And you're here because you've hit that point where it doesn't serve anymore. And there's a different way to go about moving forward. So remember, the fastest way to create change is by changing your beliefs, or what you believe to be true about your world, yourself and your world. We get stuck because there's misalignments when we're working to change. And how do you start again without failing again? You've got to start with the stepping stone routines. Please let me know if it's something that you want to get involved in, because I would love, love, love to do that with you next. Lori, I already talked to Lori. She's already on board with it too. So I just need to know if there's enough of you that want to do it too. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. And I have lots of love and respect for you being here. Have a great day. Bye.